Metadata is probably not a light subject for Labor Day in France and Europe, and actually most of the world except the U.S. Um, but it's a subject that is kind of passionating to me. I love metadata, and without any further ado, let's try to understand. I'm trying something new today. What is metadata? If you see that data is well, wrong bit. If you see like data could be something like a blurb, okay, and that's my data, unformed, unstructured, completely wild, and then you would have to think that what is metadata? Metadata is what is defining the data, defining the data. Okay, so that is metadata. If for some reason you want more details about your data, and I'll give some reason. That's what metadata is for. Okay. Um, Technically, when you think about the meta term here, it really means data over data. Okay. So I mean, if you had meta wine, for example, it's a little early, it's still 8 a.m. But if you had meta wine, it's wine about the wine. Okay. So it's data about the data. And why is it useful is because data about data can actually give you insight about the data. Okay, sometimes when you've got a complete blurb like that, you may not have any metadata. But if let's move forward a little bit before we go into more detail. If now I've got a table, okay, a classic table in my in a relational table, in a relational database, and this could be a person, okay, and my person has a name and let's say a date of birth. Okay, so here I could say something like, oh, my name is Jean Georges Perrin and my date of birth is 1971. Well, somewhere you look on Wikipedia, it does it. And if you look at that, this is my data here, okay, my data, which is very useful. But what could be even more useful is actually to start looking at how the data is being structured, okay. So, oh, I see, that's a table. Okay, so a table I can actually query, I can actually do things. So table name here, this is table name, okay, table name. And a table name is an important part of the metadata. The name here and the date of birth, those are my fields, okay? And my fields, the name of the fields or the quantity of the fields, this is also metadata on the table here, okay? If I go further, I could have things like the types, okay? So data types, a name. Yeah, that's probably a let's say I'm really relational data here. Okay, so let's say varchar 255, and the date of birth is a date. And if you do JDBC astrology, it would be actually very useful to have a date time plus a location. Nevertheless, this is a kind of data. Okay, so why is that useful? Like in time for a sip of coffee. Sorry. Back in 2002, I created a company called Awoma, and we developed one of the very first Java framework, and it was called FinStructure. And FinStructure could actually use this metadata to generate code out of it. Okay, well, actually not generate code, but it was dynamically interpreting things from there. Okay, so you see that if I'm taking now an order, okay, an order, and I have an order number, and I have, let's say, a date for my order. I have a customer ID, and I have an order line, okay, where I'm going to store every order information. And in this situation, you have an order. You've got an order number, and you've got a position, let's say, of the order line of the line in the, and you can have, for example, a quantity, etc., etc. Okay, so you instinctively know, because you know a little bit of a relational database, that there is a link between this order number and this order number. So the framework was actually being able to create master detail report automatically based on that, because it was using metadata. And we knew that because this is explicitly a foreign key in relational database, you could actually, and the foreign key is metadata, then you can actually create reports, etc., etc. Okay, so I hope that's kind of giving a little bit of an idea of what metadata is, and that it seems like a, it seemed like a big square word coming out of nowhere, but it's actually very, very, very useful, as you can see. In a further section, we will explore metadata coming from other source and relational database. Okay, so this relational database is kind of the easy go-to, but you can imagine that anything is actually really recorded, really having metadata. Okay, so cheers. Okay, so next step, what I wanted to do is show you a little bit of metadata. So I'm just going to stop sharing this screen here. Let's look at a database. Okay, if you remember in our last exercise, we looked at PostgreSQL. So PostgreSQL has a tool called pg_admin, and here is a simple, very easy example with, as you can see here, 5 databases in my instance, pg12. And last time we played a little bit with Spark Labs, exporting CSV files through Spark, basic ETL. It was our second episode. And you can see that if I drill down this thing, okay, Spark schemas, public tables, I've got 2 tables here, chapter 02 and chapter 02v2. Okay, so that's what's available in my database. This is metadata. This is relational database metadata. So let's extract this data, and one way to extract this data is by using the JDBC API. Okay, so let's look at that. Okay, so first my console here, and if I run my application, yep. Okay, see, up, and it's actually pretty fast. Okay, no warm up time or anything. So I just started, and it shows me my 2 tables. Okay, impressive example, you would say. Let's look a little bit at the code here. Okay, so I don't need that. I should have cleaned that up. But anyway, in the connection, I need an object called database metadata, which is available part of JDBC. So the cool thing about database, and there's also other classes based on the metadata extraction. But the cool thing about that is that it's part of the JDBC standard. So my code here, working against Postgres, if I change my connection string to, let's say, an Oracle database or an Informix database, I will actually get the result in the very same way. So I don't have to dig into the system table to extract this information. That's a pretty neat feature of this of the JDBC drivers. So same thing here. This is my class, PostgreSQL, PostgreSQL list tables. I like to create an instance and not work with static, as you probably know now. No reason why this is protected. Should be at the private public. Okay, so I start here. You see, I specify my database, my username, my password, my URL. Okay, all very classic stuff when you're actually dealing with JDBC. So here I create my connection based on the driver. I ask a driver manager to get a connection. The connection is based, first argument is URL and database, and the username and password Of course, the password doesn't have to be stored like that, but it can be get from an environment variable or whatever. JDBC is known for its crazy number of exceptions. So here, just for easy sake, I just ignored them, just stopped if something wrong was going on. Then, but that's a very fairly connection. Okay, whether you do a select statement or whatever, or an insert statement, a preport statement, whatever, you would create a connection. Where it changed is I'm actually asking, I'm creating this metadata object from the connection. I'm asking for get metadata. Okay, and I've got this instance there which I can start working on and getting the catalogs. That is actually wrong. Oh, that is really, really wrong. This is, if you use this, is to get all the catalog. I'm not interested in getting the catalog here. I'm just interested in seeing the tables. Okay, so I'm using the get tables method of metadata, and this is called in a table result set. The parameter I'm passing here, you see, is this array, this string array of where I specify table and view, okay, and that's where I'm passing it here. The other parameters I'll show you are kind of filters. Same thing. Then I've got my result set, and I'm just browsing through my result set, and that's it. I'm logging the information from the result set, and I'm just finishing it. Okay, I should close everything. This is just for a quick and dirty demo. So if I run it again, let's say I can actually try to run it on another database. Okay, what other database do I have in my schema? So this is, as you know, it's completely unscripted, so we can live dangerously. Let's try to see what's in the Postgres in the Postgres database. Postgres database. Okay, which is probably all the system stuff of PostgreSQL. Okay, and I'm running it, and you see here, it takes a little bit more time. It's finished. So there's nothing in my database. There's no tables directly there. That's actually weird. Let's have a look. It's probably because I didn't go to the right catalog or something. All right, schema. Tables. Yeah, see, there's nothing. Hey. So it's not lying. Okay, but I have another one which is a bit bigger, which is the VCDB. It's a database used by the automotive industry. So let's comment this one and comment this one, and just run it. See, and it's super fast. And this one is actually, I don't even remember how many tables there is, but so this is all the information you can get. So that's actually pretty cool and pretty fast. Okay, so that's really a very quick and dirty introduction to metadata and extraction with JDBC. The last thing I wanted to show you guys is and it's really too small. I apologize for that. It's a JDBC interface, and that's actually Java 7, but I don't think it changed that much. And you see that we have our database metadata interface, which we just played with before. And this is where you're getting all this information. So you've got plenty of fields there. I don't care about the fields. See, it's a pretty big class, and here you've got a lot of methods, because you can extract a lot of information from your relational database or from any JDBC supported database. Okay, things like the driver, the name of the driver, the versions, which version of JDBC it supports, lots of things like what's the maximum row size. Okay, this is critical when you design databases, and if you want to debug. So you've got a lot of information you can use there to debug your data. And if you get the table types, okay, and the one I used was get tables. See, and here I used get tables, and so basically you see that I can specify the catalog I'm using. Here I didn't specify any catalog, so it was all catalogs. I can have a schema pattern. Okay, so when you've got a lot of tables, or when you leverage schemas to You can also filter by schemas. You can use a table name pattern as well, which in my example, if you remember, in my example, where's my example? Oh, I lost my Eclipse. I lost Eclipse. Sorry. Here you see when I'm looking at the get table call here, it was just a percent sign for everything, and the types. Okay, so as I said, the types were okay. So the type I can actually have. Okay, and here is the result, and you see that what I was interested in was the table name, but I could have a table type. Okay, so whether it's a table, a view, a system table, blah, whatever. Okay, and all the comments that I can actually do. This is really useful information also when I want to do data governance, and that's also something we will address at a later point in this series. Okay, so guys, thank you for joining. I hope it was interesting. Leave some comments, subscribe, whatever, and I will look forward to see you next Friday. Okay, bye now. Bye bye.